Hello everyone, these are going to be your messages for June 2019. My name is Joanna the Medium. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you find here. I am not a traditional tarot reader. I guess I would say I'm an intuitive psychic, even though I hate that word. So majority of my messages comes through intuition, and you'll sometimes hear me talking to spirit out loud. Point is, if you are looking for a traditional tarot reader, that's not me. So this is obviously general. If these messages don't make sense to you, do listen to them later. They seem to make a lot of sense down the road for many, many, many people. And first and foremost, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you, again, who are new, thank you for taking the chance. My aim is always to give you something to chew on, to think about. My aim is not to make you believe anything or change something inside in you. You know what my gift is? Not my gift, my passion is, aside from empowering. I actually got this morning in my meditation. I just kind of went, yes, that's exactly it. I was being shown that I get information. It's almost like a roadmap, and I give it to you. And once you have a roadmap, you know where you're going. So whatever that means to you, that was obviously a metaphor. My aim is to give you a roadmap, but it is up to you to take it. It's up to you to look at it and see if you like it. And then consider looking at the map and seeing where it leads you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's absolutely up to you what you decide. And nobody's right or wrong. This is just my perspective from spirit. And if things have not been working for you for a while, trying a different perspective sometimes can usher brand new, beautiful experiences. So do know that this is general though, so it may not apply to everyone. Of course, for private information or private sessions with me, that information is always down below. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want to wish you best of luck in the month of June. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being part of my channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Without further ado, let's move on to each sign. Hello, beautiful Pisces. These are going to be your messages for the month of June 2019. Let me start off first with giving you what I received in my meditation for you. First of all, the symbolism of a crocodile came up for you. And what it means to me symbolically is that crocodile is very patient. He or she waits for its prey, so to speak. And to me, the message was, don't rush into anything. That is what I get with the crocodile. It may be different for you, so I would encourage you to look at the animal totem or spirit animal crocodile and see what attributes this symbol has, because there's something in it for you. Okay. Then I saw the idea of death and a snake, not a physical death. A death of a certain way of being, or the snake shedding its skin. I feel I've said this to you in other messages, so it feels like it's something you have been going through already. It's not necessarily something that's just going to happen, for most of you anyway. It also symbolized to me the idea of letting things go. When I look at all the information, and I don't know if I'm going to go through all the cards, but when I look at all the information here, basically the big message here is that I get from this is it's time to face your past. And we all have skeletons in our past, things we don't want to see, things we would rather not see, things we choose not to, or things we don't remember. We all have it. We all have past history. However, some of that past often haunts us. And I feel like over the next several months, and I want to go from 1 to 3 months, you may experience situations where your belief about you will be on the rise. In other words, you will face something that will allow you to look at yourself in a way that you gain more confidence. And I can't even begin to think of a scenario how that could happen. But it's a feeling that I get. So I want to say, be ready and be prepared. And this is nothing bad. It's actually quite on the contrary. It's like over the next little while, you'll be continuing to prove yourself to you, or something will transpire where you will feel like you have proven yourself, either to the world or to yourself, or all of the above. And that feels to be very, very freeing. With that state of mind, whatever that freeing feeling is, there is another set of circumstances that will follow. So perhaps another way of saying it is, there seems to be a big turnaround for many of you. Now, as I'm saying the word turnaround, I'm going, what does that even mean? Turnaround, some things getting better. So if you have been struggling with something for quite some time, chances are it's one of the things you're here to experience. Otherwise, you wouldn't be experiencing it. But it's also a time where you might be either willing, or ready to let it go. And it is often associated with facing our past. So there will be something over the next little while that will prompt you perhaps to face your past, which is in one way saying, confront your shadow. Let's put it that way. I also saw the symbol of perseverance, and it actually came out in a card a few minutes later. So I like to see things like that. And this was showing me that whatever it is you've been going through, you need to persevere, keep on persevering. So I feel like I'm speaking to those of you who have been going through something for a while. And I hear the word commitment. Commitment could be a relationship. Commitment is something we commit to, a job perhaps, a commitment to an association. You guys know what commitment is. It can be very personal and very, professional, and somewhere in the middle. And for many of you, this is about leaving your current set of circumstances or a situation and applying your values somewhere else. Now, it's interesting the way it's being said, applying your values somewhere else. So it sounds like wherever you are now, if you are struggling, you are not aligned with whatever the other part of the equation is. So whether it's your partner, whether it's your work, whether it's your environment, whether it's your friends, whatever it is, you seem to be on two different pages. It could be a career that has gone stale and you've hung around there for a while for obvious reasons. First and foremost, primal reason, safety, money. But it's getting to the point where you're no longer able to deny yourself what you inside deeply know, which is your truth. And I feel you have suppressed it for quite some time now. So on one hand, facing your truth allows for acceptance, I'm going to put it that way. But on another hand, it can cause a little bit discomfort, because once we see our truth, then chances are we have to do something about it, which is the actionable piece of this equation. So if you are one of those individuals who is moving or moving out, I feel like it's going to apply to you more so than anybody else. So this is either you moving to a different job, you moving out of a home, you moving out of a relationship. You guys get the general idea. Spring, apparently, well, we are in spring. So spring, somehow spring, okay, for some of you, spring 2007, somehow it's very, very important. For some of you, it's spring, I guess 2017, 2 years ago. There's some sort of a commitment that is tied to those dates. So they don't have to be, you don't have to cover both of those dates. It's one or the other. So it's going to be not for all of you, but there's something important there that either needs to be addressed or needs to be looked at. I was also shown that actually the words I heard is "you're not done yet," and I go, oh shoot, here we go. They're going to love to hear that. And I said, okay, what is it that they're not done yet? And then I heard the word journey. So again, if you have been on a journey, and we're all on a journey, but if you have been on a significant journey of change, then you haven't yet arrived at your destination. As a matter of fact, there is no such thing as arrival, but we'll get to that some other time. And so the crocodile also is a symbol of patience and waiting. If you have been going through something for a while, if you have been struggling with a decision, if you have been struggling with being where you are, if you've been at it for a while, you're almost there, but you're not there yet. So I hate to say it, and I cringe saying it, but I'm going to say it. Have patience. Now, it's easier said than done when you're in a situation that doesn't poke at you. It's a lot more difficult where it's some situation you want to get out of, but you don't know how or if you can. Patience doesn't really, do much for us, does it? So that was shown to me. And the phrase, release all expectations. And I thought, okay, we all have expectations. That's just the way the human mind works. But the problem with expectation is that our expectations are based on our current belief, our current state of awareness. So I said, okay, if they shouldn't have expectations, well, what about what they want? And what I received was have hope and intend, but then let it go. I'm going to try not to over-translate this, but essentially what it means is whatever you are after, whatever you are trying to create, whatever job you're after, whatever security, whatever it is that's important to you that you're after and it's not there yet, it's not here yet, have hope and have intent, but release the how and when it's supposed to happen. And that is by far, I would say, one of the most difficult things for human beings to do. Why? Because we live on attachments. We are on need to know basis. We are rarely ever present unless we really, really work hard at it. So the moral of the story is that, yes, you're on a journey, and yes, some of you have been going through a lot, and I'm actually feeling a little bit bad about it, and I hope it's not anything terrible, but for some of you, you've been dragging your heels for a while. Let's just face it, okay? And dragging heels you will for a little while longer. That's okay. Point is, you're heading somewhere, perhaps a very new and different direction. And those circumstances need time, almost like to find you. I'm also being asked to talk about you respecting yourself more so than you currently do. So what does a person who does not respect him or herself do? Well, you guys figure it out. On the other hand, what does a person who is solid and confident, what do they do? They behave very different. So you might want to look at the attachments you have in terms of your confidence or feelings of confidence. But that's something that was talked about earlier. Very important. Release all expectations, have hope and intent. Now, what's the difference between hope and intent? That's a good question. Intention is intention is in the future, I guess, but it's not even in the future. Intention is driven by focus. So whatever it is that we focus on, I guess intention is one and the same. What is hope? I actually don't know how to define hope. Can I get some suggestions? What is hope? Hope is where you release everything to God, whatever God is, and then just patiently wait. So intention is focused, and hope seems to be, it's not that it's not focused, it's still focused, but it's focused differently. I don't know how to explain it, and if I don't want to go on because I feel like I'm getting lost there. All right, let's move on with some cards. The card that represents your energy or what you might want to work on, let's say, for the next little while, is the peacock. Whenever I see the peacock, it always to me symbolizes confidence. So the element here, I believe, is air. That's the analytical mind. So you are being urged to acknowledge your own uniqueness and your own specialness. Not so much to other people, but to you first and most importantly. Another way, spend some time in cultivating a magnified faith in yourself. Very interesting. So this is what the peacock wants to say to you. The peacock also represents having confidence, but it's not a confidence that's forced. It's a confidence that is felt. I think you know what I mean. So this is not a shallow, how do I say this? This is not a surface confidence. This is depth, deep confidence. And I feel like many of you are working on that. How do you work on confidence? Well, you recognize the areas first where you do not feel confident and ask yourself, if I was a confident person, what would I do? And then practicing that, right? So that is your animal. Looking at some of the cards here that I have, I'm just going to continue on with a intuitive story. I can see that you are coming out of either a relationship with a person who was not emotionally very stable or very giving, or you are coming from that space yourself. As a matter of fact, you might still be either in a relationship like that, or this might still be your frame of mind. Let me just tune into it a little bit more. Not feeling like you're not in control. And perhaps you're not, well, we're never really in control of many things, but it's a feeling of not being in control, perhaps not being able to control emotions, that too. Point is, I feel like you're leaving that behind. So if you are experiencing this as you hear this, know that this too shall pass. In other words, you're working through it. The Knight of Swords also shows up, and the way it's showing up, it's focused on this emotional lack of control. So what I want to say here, make a promise to yourself for life, but over the next little while. And the promise might be to recognize where you're focused, when your focus is focused in the wrong direction. Now, how do you know it's wrong? Well, you know it's wrong. You'll just know. So give me an example. If you are constantly worried about not ever getting what you're after, then your idea or your belief about what you are after needs to be looked at. For example, if you are constantly feeling like you're not loved, or like you don't love yourself, or there's not enough love going around, just as an example, loving yourself, let's stay with that one. And if you have difficulty loving yourself, yet you want a relationship that's loving, those vibrations don't match. And you actually have a card that kind of supports that. And this is to show you how where we mismatch our wants with our needs and where we focus our direction or attention, we might have a tendency to be all over the map or all over the place, which also means some of you may not feel like you have any direction, or you might feel stuck. The moral of this story, so to speak, is be patient with the process. I hate saying the word patient. I'm sorry. I cringe when I say that. And persevere. I mean, the moment I looked at the card, I got a headache. So some of you are in a situation where it's causing you a headache. It's a toxic environment. and it's causing you a headache. Some of you, it's you put a lot of pressure on yourself, or other people are putting a lot of pressure on you. This is actually the card that I saw in my mind when I was meditating on you. That's the Perseverance card. So like this card suggests, you're on a journey. You're not there yet. You're almost there. You're not there yet. So persevere. And for some of you, you might feel tired, and for some of you, you may have felt like you just want to give up. We sometimes we go through these things. Point is, this is about you becoming much more independent. That's not to say you're not independent already, but emotionally independent. And I actually see this a lot. We as humans depend on many things to make us happy, to make us loved, to make us feel good, we depend on many things, least of all on ourselves. Therefore, we're always driven by the world or people outside us instead of who we are or us. So this is very much a process of you redefining yourself by looking at what your truth is. And as I've said in the beginning, sometimes truth can be a little bit tricky, because the moment you are aware of your truth is beautiful because you're not in denial. But the moment you are aware of that truth, it might mean that now you have to take action. And I often talk with people who say, I don't know what I want, where it becomes very apparent in a minute and a half that they know exactly what they want. The only difference is that they're afraid of how to achieve it. So they say, I don't know. And that's, I don't know, kind of keeps them stuck there. So they're never really moving forward. And I'm not saying you guys are in denial. Some of you, yes, we all are at some points. Some of you are very aware, and you're very aware, but you still are where you are. So the word patience comes in every time I say it. I cringe for you. I'm sorry. If you hear anything from this message, it's this. The time for change is now. The time for change is now. If you continue this way, later won't get any easier. So it sounds to me like some of you have been here before more than once, and if this is your first time, so to speak, dealing with whatever you're dealing with, if you don't deal with it now and go on your life and pretend everything is okay, the universe will knock at your door again, and I'm getting pressure in my ears, and it will be presented to you once again. So life has a funny way of showing up that way. When we don't deal with something in the past, it has a tendency to come back and bite us in the behind. And that's when I was talking about facing your past. So over the next few months, I feel you will have the opportunity to face your past, particularly in terms of your fears. What are you afraid of? And as a result of that, how do you hold yourself back? What does that look like in your life? What would it look like if you didn't hold yourself back? What would it look like if you didn't feel the way you do about yourself, i.e. Not confident? All these things, it's like I want to say, anything is up for grabs right now. We're in conditions energetically where we are ripe to make a drastic and fundamental change. But change, like any change, requires moving out of our comfort zones. And we're creatures of comfort. We like our stability. Who doesn't? So change is always, always brings with it certain uncomfortable emotions, particularly those that are deeply rooted or deeply rooted. They will become much more apparent during the process of change. But there's something that you can do with that. When you see it, recognize it for what it is. Don't judge it. Don't pretend it's not there. Just see it for what it is, and then release the need to worry about it. What do I mean when I say that? I'm being asked to say, when you focus on what you don't have, you're going to experience not having it. Okay? That's how I was supposed to say it. I hope it makes sense. I also want to say this to some of you. Your mother is very proud of you. And I hope every single human being who hears this says thank you, but it's a pretty blank statement. I feel this is someone who is no longer in a physical form that is coming through and saying, I am proud of you. So this is either your mother, someone who was like a mother to you, a mother's mother, somebody you would have considered to be a mother, or someone who was a mother, but it's someone you would have known. Because it's important for you to hear that from them. So if you had a female, for example, who was like a mother figure, and you felt, for example, not good enough, and you always wanted to improve yourself to her, chances are she's coming in and saying, I'm very proud of you. You can stop trying to prove. And I think that's how I want to end it. I hope this was helpful. If this makes no sense to you at the very beginning of when you watch it, please watch it a month or maybe 2 months from now. These energies will have a tendency to make sense to a lot of you after some time. I keep saying with all the other signs, I said with this one, these messages do not cover the month of June alone, because I am picking up on energies and how energies affect you. So energies don't have a end there, an expiry date. So this will continue over the next 2 to 3 months. So do pay attention. There's nothing bad happening. You're like everybody else. We're all in transition. Some of you are in more transitions than others, but we're all moving forward. So with that said, of course, if you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. I wish you a wonderful month of June. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you soon.